We continue our conversation with the producer of Story in the Stars, also author and our friend here at 100 Huntley Street, Joe Amaral. Joe, fascinating stuff here. Story in the Stars. Let's talk about our Savior for a moment. What did Jesus have to say when it came to expressions about signs of the heavens and stars, things that Story in the Stars is featuring? What did Jesus say?
Well, first of all, I was shocked that Jesus even talked about stars or the moon or the sun. I had no idea, really. And if I'd heard it in passing, it didn't really connect with me.
I've been a believer a long, long time
Yeah.
and heard a lot of messages and Bible lessons and story. I don't recall ever hearing anything mentioned about Jesus saying something about stars. We think of him, obviously,
as the morning star
and the star in the east where he was born. But that's a fascinating. I've never heard anything about Jesus. So please continue.
Well, when the Lord started to speak to me about checking these constellations, I mean, I came across Luke 21:25, where Jesus himself says there will be signs in the sun, the moon, and the stars. Then he said, look to the sky for the sign of the coming of man in the clouds. He talks about these things. And so if Jesus is telling me, and I'm his follower, to look up to the sun, the moon, and the stars to see signs, I'm going to do that. And so I began to look. And there's all kinds of incredible things in these constellations, John. You look at the constellation of Scorpio, for instance, and it's a scorpion and it's the enemy. And above Scorpio, there's another constellation called Ophiuchus, which is this big, big person. And what you notice is that the tail of the scorpion is coming up and he's trying to sting this figure in his heel. But while that's happening, with his left foot, he's crushing the head of the enemy. And right away, I went to Genesis 3:15, and I said, are you kidding? That's exactly what God said would happen.
Yeah. First mention of the gospel, Genesis 3:15.
Yeah, I mean, it's right there in the beginning. And then that same constellation of Ophiuchus is holding a serpent in his hand. And above the serpent is the corona, which is the constellation of the crown. And we see the serpent. I mean, you can look at this up on any map or just watch the film, and you can see the serpent, and he's going up, trying to reach for the crown, trying to rise above this messianic figure, but he's holding him in place. At the same time, he's stepping on his head. I mean, so when we pay attention to what Jesus says about the sun, the moon, and the stars, we see powerful messianic images that God, on purpose, put in the heavens.
So these stars in the skies are not there by accident. They're just not there by random chance.
No way.
They're also there to teach us more about what God's creation and God's plan of salvation is all about.
Absolutely. He loved us so much that he designed the universe to write the message of salvation in the stars.
And this is a beautiful visual journey, Story in the Stars, of how that all, what it means and what it represents, and as well, not just symbolism, but the realities of what it means for our future as we look for a future coming King, Jesus Christ. It's Story in the Stars. It's a 40-minute, beautifully done film produced by our friend Joe Amaral. Joe, thanks for being with us.
My pleasure.
And thank you so very much.